Hi there, as usually it's me, just a voiceover, you're watching Review Machines, and today for the review we have the newest models of Chinese snowmobiles that are called Charmax. These sleds are pretty cheap, and it's interesting what they can do for this money. We have here three models. The most compact and the cheapest, Forester SN210, more powerful but also cheap, SN550, and the headliner of this brand, Charmax SN800. Today we are going as usually look closer at the construction of these sleds and make thorough tests. So make some tea and get comfortable, my friends. We are to start right now. Let's go. We start with the cheapest and compact snowmobile Charmax Forester. Its length is 2500 mm. Moreover, the main feature of the design that the sled is demountable. It takes just few minutes to take this sled into two separate parts. In this way, it's much easier to transport the sled. To make the process of the assembling simpler, there are such joints that don't require any tools to work with them. There are two seats. By the way, the rider's position is pretty unusual. It's like you ride on a bike, on a chopper. Under the seat there is a glove box as usually. The length of the track is 2150 mm, 380 mm width. There is a suspension system, but frankly speaking, it even now seems too tough. The dashboard and handlebar are pretty standard. The display is big and bright. The power of the engine is 11 HP. It's working together with the CVT transmission. The chain drive is protected with such a cover. Let's try to start the engine. There are both manual and electric starter. When the engine is idle running, it's pretty quietly. But when you push a throttle, the sound is quite annoying. Well, let's have a ride. And according to my very first impressions, I can tell that it's rather swift snowmobile, despite the engine is rather small. The power seems to be enough, but do not expect much of this sled. What I don't like, there are vibrations on the handlebar and the body. You don't feel it on short rides, but they start to annoy you at long distances, as well as the noise from the engine. Besides, I don't like how the suspension works. It's too tough for one person. Maybe two people riding on this sled will get more comfort. Well, the main tests we will make a bit later, and now let's move to the next model. Charmax SN550. It's quite big utility two-seat snowmobile. Its length is 2900 mm. The design is pretty standard for a utility sled. There are comfortable footsteps, the back seat for a passenger and the glove box under the seat. The trunk is pretty spacious. The suspension here works much softer than on the previous model. The length of the track is 3300 mm, the bits is 500 mm, the grousser is 19 mm. The handlebar is also standard. The choke, heaters, light buttons, all this stuff is near at the hand. But the display is much less and not so bright. Under the plastic cover we see the engine 22 HP, 460cc capacity. It works with the CVT transmission as usually, and as usually there are both manual and electric starter. The engine sounds like the garden tractor. No wonder, the engine is the same type. And now let's try how the thing works. Well, this sled significantly differs from the previous model. Due to its motor, the acceleration here is not insanely fast. On the other hand, the engine is rather torquey. It's quite comfortable to sit here for me. Besides, I like the performance of the suspension. It feels soft and smooth. But what I don't like, the vibrations are also felt here, and that is slightly annoying. The main tests we will make a bit later. And now let's get back to the last snowmobile. First of all, I should say, this model is not a serial produced. It's just a prototype of a sports sled Sharmax SN800. Well, it looks dope, but I think many of us noticed that this snowmobile looks very similar to other famous brand, doesn't it? Anyway, let's have a look at it such as it is. The engine is 2-stroke, 800cc, 154 HP. There is an advanced suspension system. The track almost 4 meters length and 50 mm growler. In general, it's pretty impressive specs, but I remind you, it's just a prototype. Now let's move to some open area to make the main tests of these sleds. Let's go! Here, on this huge frozen lake, we are going to continue our tests. Unfortunately, the snowy field is covered with a tough ice crust, so the conditions are not ideal for riding. For all that, we will try. Getting back to the cheapest Forester. Well, after a few hours of riding on it, I can say that you should not expect much from this machine. It's simple snowmobile, and its main advantages are that it's really cheap and it's really compact. It may be useful as a winter transport, but mind that it can be used only on a good snowy roads and not in very deep snow. The track is short here, so it's easy to get stuck on this sled. On the other hand, it weighs just 130 kilos, so it's possible to pull it from the snow trap on your own. Besides, it allows you to carry a passenger, if you are ready to sit tightly to him, of course. And now let's check its maximum speed. As I said, the conditions are not ideal today, so we managed to get only 40 km per hour, though its maximum is 50 according to the official specs. And speaking about the price of this new sled is just $2,500. Now Sharmax SN550. As I've already mentioned, it has quite sluggish acceleration, but it's torquey. To my mind, this sled may be used as a decent utility vehicle. Its weight is 218 kilos. Carrying capacity is 300 kilos. It's rather comfortable to go with a passenger here. There is enough space for 2 people, and the suspension works pretty smooth. It has a long and wide track, 500 mm, so it provides a good traction even on loose snow. As to the maximum speed, well, let's check it now. According to the official specs, its maximum speed is 60 km per hour. Let's find out if we can reach such a result. And we reached only 46 km per hour. That is a good result, taking into account a rough crust under the track. As to the price, it's $4,000. Regarding the prototype SN800, certainly we were quite impressed by its performance and look. It's a serious snowmobile. But I don't think it would be right to make some tests, because it's not serial produced. We will make the tests when this machine is finally on the line. And thanks for having a ride with us, my friends. Please post your comments what you think of these sleds, if they are worth of their money. Consider subscribing to our channel if you like this video. Stay with us, there will be many more interesting materials here. Goodbye.